Hello guys, welcome to Domino Effect, the video game. This is a really neat little doujin released in 2010 by xxgameroom, who is mainly known for me from the Blue Wish series. I got really excited in playing this because I know the newest one is coming out soon. I see him, talk about it on Twitter a lot. This is the second in the trilogy of Eden's games. What I mean by domino effect is you have a special shot in this game, very similar to the way Esperade has a special shot that kind of like infects enemies. And when the enemies die while they're like infected with your shot, they cancel all the bullets around them. And they like get sucked into you. So it's this really amazing dance of keeping your chain going Dodonpachi style, because it will fall extremely quickly if you don't keep it going. But then also making sure you're canceling bigger enemies. But the way you want to cancel bigger enemies, if you can help it, is by like waiting for them to shoot as many bullets as possible. That way you can get all of those bullets canceled into big items. And then the scoring system works as kind of similar to Mushihime-sama in the way that that number in the top left, that number's your item score. Little enemies are times 10 your item score. Bigger enemies, like the mid-size enemies, are times 100 or times 50 or something like that. And then the bosses give you the most, a multiplier when it comes to like cashing out that item score. I would recommend turning weight on and auto guard on in this game, or else it's going to be about 10 times harder than this. Because I didn't know that was a thing, so I was like, pushing myself trying to get like further in this game without having slowdown or auto guard on. It is very unforgiving in that way. But when you turn the auto guard on, it becomes like such a breeze in the way of clearing it, because you have so many chances. Really, the only thing that happens other than like losing a bomb from your auto guard is that your score gets cut in either a third or a half. So that really sucks when you're like going through like me and it's scoring it, trying to get up to a certain threshold, because then you take that hit and it's really hard to recover from that. I did it a couple times in here because my score goal was to go above 100 million. I think when I originally cleared this, I cleared with about 30 million, and then I was averaging around 70 to 80 million, so I knew I could do it, but I just had to keep pushing myself. And especially because I was getting real down on myself because I was playing Tsukio Gurentai at the same time, and on the Saturn that was just kicking my ass like crazy. And then I kind of started messing around with the PlayStation 1 version of Tsukio Gurentai, which is crazy because it is inferior in pretty much every single conceivable way. However, its gameplay, I feel, is almost better in the way that, like, it doesn't feel like it becomes so unwinnable, like it becomes so random. I know some people really like that, so if you are into that kind of thing, stay away from the PlayStation 1 version. But it feels a little bit more achievable in the thought that, like, I can kind of route things, and I can kind of... It doesn't feel so reactable. Speaking of reactable, one thing that's great about this game is that the whole thing is almost completely sight-readable. There's only a couple gotcha moments. Really, when enemies appear, that's the only time you have to worry about them, or like when big bosses appear, and then certain enemies in the last two stages. They kind of have like gotcha moments in which they're like, oh, you weren't expecting this. And if you don't know those are coming, they can get you. Because the only cancels you're going to be getting are on certain enemies if you're not using your edge shot. Your edge shot will cancel anything that it infects. So, using that, you see how how crazy my score was going down by like not collecting the little yellow gems. I want to call them amber because that's what they remind me of. They remind me of the amber from Mushihime-sama. I think there's a lot that can be taken from this game and how well it's designed by one person. It blows me away when doujins have this amount of this level of quality. When this is free, like, you can go and play this right now. You can go to xxgameroom's itch.io right now and play this. The only thing you will need, and because it's a doujin, of course it can't be so easy to set up. The only thing you'll need is to download Joy to Key, so it'll recognize the directional inputs on your stick if you're playing with an arcade stick. So, but other than that, you're good to go. Oh, and also don't pause during replays, because for some reason, if you pause during a replay, it will not save your score or your replay. I had actually gotten 95 million score before this, but I was cooking dinner at the same time, so I was like going in and out, and I paused, and I was like, wait, why the fuck didn't it save my replay or save my my score? And I guess that's considered like cheating, but everything is considered cheating nowadays. You know, like, I cut off the front end of this recording because it had like my desktop in the front of it, because of course also recording this was a gigantic pain in the ass, because this is running at 58 frames a second, and let's see, my Windows recorder records at either 60 or 30, and then OBS records 60, but I can kind of change it around a little bit, and it just does not like this at all. It didn't like this, and it didn't like Cho Shaw. So what you're seeing is going to be different than what I'm seeing. The audio is going to be slightly out of sync, and for that I do apologize. It is the best I could do with the tools that I have at the moment, but I do hope you're enjoying it either way. So I was so proud of this. This is the kind of gameplay that I love, and the fact that I can look at this gameplay and be super proud of it, but then I can also look at it and be like, what the fuck was I doing there? Because there's a bunch of moments later on in this where I'm like, what the fuck was I thinking? You know, I'm looking through and I'm drawing lines with my eyes of like where I can go through the patterns, and I don't do it, and I'm just like, oh my god, because it's so different playing it. It's so different, you know, sitting down and getting the nervousness on you and the pressure, and then looking at it and being like, what is wrong with you, dude? And I wonder if other people do that with others' replays, you know, because I know that sometimes you can look and you can kind of like feel the insanity, you can feel the pressure, but then other times it's like, yeah, I'm curious about that, especially people that probably don't play a lot or play certain things where they look at that and they're like, oh my god, you're such a fucking idiot, why didn't you do this? So tell me what you think about that. Yeah, these guys, you start running into like two-tiered dudes, and it is super important that you try to edge cancel them as much as you can. A good portion of your score is going to be coming from this level, the actual level of 4, because that fucking boss sucks, and then 5. The scoring from level 5 made up pretty much 2/3 of my score. In watching it back, as I did when I recorded it, it kind of blew my mind a little bit. These, for me, were just like getting these extends and making sure that I had like a cushion that I could fall back on, because the stage 4 boss can kiss my fucking ass, dude. He is such an asshole. So there will be bombs hidden around the stage. Each stage has 1 bomb, so you get 3 bombs starting out per life. But then you also can find another 5 bombs, so you have this just really nice cushion. And I need to get better at using my bombs in games, because especially if you've been kind of conditioned to playing certain games. Me and Hazy were talking about this yesterday. Conditioned to playing certain games where like bombs are a bad thing, and then you play games like Battle Garega or Bat Rider or Tsukio Garentai or any other game where it wants you to use your bombs. It wants you to use them. Or like the Dreamer games are another good ones of games that want you to engage with their bombing mechanics and not just hold on to them. But then you go back and you play like a cave game, and Tsuneki Ikeda is like, you shouldn't even be thinking about bombing until the second loop, and it's like, all right, dude, why don't you just go stroke your fucking big dick over here somewhere else because you're so cool, you know? And but I talk shit about the man, but I do love his games. I like games where all of your tools are used, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I don't like how I've been conditioned to not use those tools. I guess the best thing I could do is to kind of turn it around and start going like game by game and being like, okay, well in this game I need to use like my bomb sense, I guess. Because I know a lot of people on the higher end of play can do that. I'm still learning how to do that. I do find that I'm learning fairly quickly for, all intensive purposes. But sometimes I feel like I'm not learning quickly enough, if that makes sense. But that's a whole nother... I could probably talk about a whole podcast episode of that. There was a cute little message on the Restart Syndrome like leaderboards where the person that was in last place said "fork you," and so it's like, oh man, you died to the fork girl. The fork girl killed me a couple times. I think they're supposed to be pitchforks, but me and my wife said they just look like just normal like cooking forks. Kind of reminds me of the girl from Like Dreamer that comes out and she's got the big like chef's hat on. I really did not want to get hit here because I had a good item score, and there it goes. Cut that shit down in half. So that was not... Watching it and hearing that shing is just really painful. I'm trying my best to stay on schedule for everything. I know that no one else is worried about that other than me. But I'm the kind of person that's 30 minutes early to work. I'm the kind of person that likes to stay on a schedule of doing the same things. And you can like expect that from me. And you can rely on me. I like to be reliable. And so I know no one else is worried about it, but I appreciate everybody, hanging on and sticking in there. So thank you. Thank you for that. So I call these bullets right here the toenail bullets. They suck so bad because I feel like they take up so much more space. Even though they're slightly smaller than the normal bullets, I feel like they take up slightly more space than the other ones, and they kind of throw me off a little bit. I'm not really sure why. But I find them to be just really, really annoying. This girl just will not die. So speed killing is another thing that kind of goes through your score in this game. And the only reason that that's like a thing, it's just very basic. It's kind of similar to Dodonpachi, where, you'll have more of a score if you kill people quicker because it's like counting down in the background. Yeah, so... I had unlocked the other two like secret characters. I might try a clear with them at some point. But Nanthony is my favorite. Kind of slower wide shot. The girl that we're playing right now. There's also another one. She's like more of a straightforward shot, quicker. Her sticky shot is also a little bit delayed. So it it kind of throws me off a little bit, but it's really strong. And then there's the third or the first secret character that you unlock just through continuous play. Is she has like shadow options that like follow her. She's really cool. She's really strong. Then the last one is one that uses a blade, and she is fucking the strongest out of all of them. That blade will just chop through anybody, but it's kind of short range, and you'll see a lot of people that will use her to get just really, like kind of clutch scoring moments because it comes back extremely quickly, and so you can just cancel. I know that's a lot of the high score replays I've seen have used her, because she can just be like a quick in, quick out kind of thing. So the secret on this level is that it not only has a bomb, but it also has an extend. You get it during the mini-boss. I really wish people would give dojins more of a chance of play, because I know that they can be like a huge pain in the ass to set up, and there's a lot of times I don't even remember how I set them up. Like I'm helping out Chris right now set up Battle Traverse, and I'm getting like a lot of questions that I don't remember the answer to, and I do apologize for that, Chris. But like I remember whenever I would start playing Mecharitz, which I'm not a big fan of, but and there's like no auto fire, right? It's a great game with a great idea, right? Even if I don't prefer it, some people really do love it, and it's unique. But not only did it just stop working for like a month randomly, but also like it had like a cache overflow, and then also it had no auto fire. So I'm like, oh my god, how could you release a game like this? Like, how could you release a game like this? And then you remember that it's just one person, that are making games that like maybe 5 people might buy, if they buy them at all. It feels different than the American like indie scene, in which the American indie scene seems to be in a lot of ways a little bit more commercial, in the way that they want you to know that they're indie. It's like, hey, we're indie. And the dojin scene feels like it almost wants to hide from you. It almost wants to stay hidden and stay niche and it doesn't want to be popular. I know that there are a lot of people in the community, a lot of devs in the community that feel that way, that share a lot of that kind of spirit. Like the people that made Emerald Blue share that quite a bit. Mark, the guy that made Shamandala, who will be on the podcast here after in the next couple episodes, have that kind of Japanese dojin spirit, where they're not looking for high sales or to influence other games. They're just looking to make their game, and if anyone likes it, that's cool, and if anyone doesn't, then that's fine. It's kind of like the same way that a lot of us YouTubers in the shmup realm kind of make our stuff. If one person watches this video, that's cool. If a million people watch this video, that's cool too. It really doesn't make any difference to me. I'm still going to do them, So this is the worst fucking boss in the game. I hate this guy with a passion. Nothing but overlapping patterns and fucking cheapness. So he separates in the middle, right? And Game Room has these bosses in every game he's ever made. Blue Wish, this one, the other Eden's game, where he loves separating bosses that will separate and then attack you from like the other side while also doing an attack from this side. However, you would think that star would be behind you. It is not. You can run into that star. You can run into this dude, and it will just like chain hit you with like guard, and then there goes all your bombs. And he has one attack here in a second that is fucking horseshit, dude. And it has made me quit so many times when I'd be doing so good. And then I would just take like 4 fucking bomb hits on that guy. And just be like, what's the point in continuing, you know? But even though I did kind of messy on him in this one, I'm glad I did continue, or I wouldn't have gotten my score. Recovery in this game is something of a learned asset, because as long as you're above like 4,000 during the stages, then you can kind of do shitty on the bosses. You know, the bosses do give you a lot of points, but the consistency in the stages is really what you're going for. That's going to be your bread and butter. They're just telling that to anybody who wants to try to score this game, because it is a fucking blast. I hate this attack. These little toenail bullets come and try to crowd you out, and I think I took like 2 or 3 guard hits here. It was not a fun time of trying to weave through these. I should have just used a bomb. Like, I knew better. That's the thing. In watching this, it's painful to me because I know better. I should have used a bomb there, you know? I should have you know, kind of put my money where my mouth is and just try to go outside of my comfort zone a little bit when it comes to experimentation in, you know, the routes that I'm doing. Because, you know, if something is only working like 3/4 of the time, then why not try something new? Especially if it's saving a replay over, you know, why not try something new, you know? And it's learning that. So your shield bonus in the stage clear kind of breakdown means like every time you get a no miss, right? That will like increase. So this is where you score like the other part of your points. This is super important to get your item score as high as possible. And then just making sure that you're canceling as many big enemies as possible, because it's going to throw enough at you to where you don't have to worry about your chain falling. You know, that is not a worry that you have to have in this stage. These guys can be kind of annoying because they have these little skittle bullets in the middle, and they can be a little rough to dodge. There's some dodges in this level I didn't know I was capable of, to be perfectly honest. And some like bullet, you know, I forgot what they call them. Like, not to be like, you know, risque or rude or anything, but I call it tit fucking a bullet, in which you got like the 2 round bullets like coming down like this, and then it doesn't look. Gun Vein teaches you this. It doesn't look like you have enough room to make it through, but like you put your hitbox in like the 1 pixel, you know, where there is room. I do that a couple times on here just out of necessity, of like hoping it'll work. Mostly because I just had to do it before in clearing this level. And there are certain attacks that you can kind of get by with it on. I actually had to do it a couple times on the 4th stage boss. I like this whole, you know, Sailor Moon aesthetic this has going on. I know that's not some people's cup of tea. They're not scantily clad, which you know, I really do appreciate. Not everything needs to be like sexy time. Although you know, I am partial to my anime girls. You know, anime women. You do have to draw the line there. You know that, like, I do like for my anime women to look like adults. Okay, there is a weirdness that comes with you know, like Lolita, like fucking Japanese shit, you know. But that is a topic for somebody a fucking lot weebier and smarter than and nerdier than me, you know. All I do is play arcade games, man. I play arcade games and fucking go to work and have kids. That's what I do, you know, and watch movies. I watched Blowout last night. It had been a couple years since I'd seen it, and if you guys like movies and haven't seen it, I would recommend it. It is an amazing 1981 movie by Brian De Palma with John Travolta. Really good movie. I know in the last podcast episode with Pearl, we were talking about like why people don't watch movies, and it's kind of sad in the way that people are kind of getting away from like passive entertainment, of like being able to sit down and like appreciate a movie. This Dodge here is pretty crazy. Of like being able to sit down, you know, for 2 hours and like appreciate a movie and then be able to like discuss it afterwards. I think that's where like the interaction comes in. And a lot of people aren't cool with that, that's fine, you know. I guess just movies were such a huge part of my life. It's sad to see them, you know, kind of start going the way of the dodo. And, you know, music can be in the same way that music is like, you know, can be a passive or an active experience depending on kind of what you expect from it as a listener. But, you know, when it comes to anything that has influenced me, it would be hard for me to say which one is more influential. But I would have to go with video games, because my first ever memory is playing a video game, is sitting down with my mother and playing The Legend of Zelda when I was like 3. That's the first thing I can remember. My first memory as a human is a video game. So, you know, I would have to pick games, man. I would have to pick games. Now, I still love the shit out of movies, and will always love the shit out of movies. But I seem to watch less and less of them a year, and that's really sad. That's really sad. Here we got the final boss. Now, you don't fight the TLB until you're in Hell mode, which is the next highest difficulty above this. I can't tell you when that's going to be a thing, when Hell mode's going to be a thing for me. But I would love to come back to it at some point, whenever I can get my skills a little bit better. I think that would be a fucking blast, and I would love to kick this guy's ass again. There are certain aspects of him that are harder than Stage 4. Overall, I found him a little easier than the Stage 4 boss because he didn't feel as cheap. The Stage 4 boss just felt like kind of like bullshit. And this guy felt like his stuff didn't expect you, you know, to like know these like gotcha moments, right? And also this first, I hate patterns like this. Oh my god, dude. Hazy would be so mad at me. Hazy would be so mad. They'd be like, you didn't practice hibachi, man? That was like such a hibachi pattern. I'm so sorry, Hazy. Yeah, so right there is what I'm calling, like, when you go through the, like, you know, the middle of the bullet. It looks like you got hit, but you're actually good. I was able to keep some of my score there. What I'm trying to do here is just real simple. I'm just trying to make it to the end and cash out. I'm just trying to survive at this point, not do anything fancy. Although I do try to do something fancy and end up getting fucking, you know, I eat shit for it. But I kind of deserved it. I kind of knew better. I was trying to push my score just that much. Yeah, that was actually not too bad at all. This pattern right here. Oh my god, I hate that pattern so bad. It comes in like reminding me of like a football field. Like, I don't know. It's like a mental image I have every time that goes of like with like one of the, no, not a football field, but one of the things that you set up like a pool table with. That's what that kind of looks like. I get like PTSD flashbacks of drinking too much in my, you know, teens. Yeah, dude. I just, for a free video, this is a free video game. And I look at it. See, if I hadn't done that right there, if I had not have done that right there, I would have had an extra bomb. I should have just, you know, you live and you learn. I should have just went for it. Sorry, my daughter came in and was wondering where the toilet paper is. So, I don't know if I'll be able to cut that or what, but we'll see. We will see. Let's hope she finds the toilet paper, huh? Yeah, so this shit explodes from behind. It gets so dense right here. It gets so dense. And I'd been here a couple times, but not really enough to, you know, like maybe 5 or 6 times have I been to this guy out of all the times I've played. So I knew the things that I was really confident on. Like, I knew I could get through this in, like, following the pattern. But everything else was sight read. And I felt fairly good for being sight read. You know, I'm proud of my performance. You know, there's always part of me in the back of my mind that's like, I could have done better. But then I have to remind myself not to be so hard on myself. This is the last problem pattern. It starts off really easy, and then there will be a like a big line, a big fat line that'll come and try to take you out. There it is. A 3 miss, man. I could have done it with a 2 if I only hadn't have tried to go for that one shitty cancel that I tried. And there we go. That is Eden's Aegis. I would highly recommend it to everyone. You have no excuse. It is free. And yeah. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you thought of the face cam, okay? Let me know what you thought. All right. Have a good day, guys.